And hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of the Student Section, a podcast about college kids talking sports. I'm your host, Gary Sussman, not a student, but we're here to talk sports, and we got a lot to get to. We're going to take a look back at the MAAC tournament, put a wrap on that, dive a little into March Madness, talk a little Yankee baseball. Maybe we'll put the Mets in there a little bit as regular season's about to get underway. And we'll spotlight Marist women's softball with our special guest, Alyssa Grupp. So at this time, let's go to the student section and welcome in Fire and Ice, Aidan, Lavin, Will the Thrill Rosen. Men, welcome back from spring break. Aidan, got the sand out of your sneakers? Yeah. What's going on?
Well, I wasn't wearing sneakers for very long. Once I got off that plane, I switched into my flip-flops, and from there I was gone. But I will say I'm excited to be back because I felt maybe a little bit of FOMO because there was so much going on with the NFL free agency and MLB free agency, the MAAC tournament. I felt like I was missing out while I was on vacation, just a little bit. But I enjoyed my time in the sand, and it was a good time there.
And Will spent his time over spring break hailing Ubers in Manhattan and tracking how many he could add in one particular day.
Yeah, no, I'm not the biggest Uber guy, but when I need to, I'll Uber. Aidan, I'm glad you had a relaxing time for what it was. You were in Florida, right?
No, Punta Cana.
Punta Cana, okay. Hopefully everything's safe there. Glad.
Yeah, everything was fine.
Good.
There were some people that were nervous about it because of everything that's going on all the way on the other side of that island, but it's all good.
Spring break, but we're going to focus on what we love here, and it's sports. We're back, a little hiatus.
I'm excited.
So let's get into hoops. Let's go back to the MAAC tournament. Marist men's team knocked out in the semifinals by Fairfield. Had a very good season. You know, the tournaments are crazy, and the question is, are you built to win? Are you built to compete? Marist had a good season. I think at the end of the day, it's tough to win by committee when you advance in these different tournaments. But kudos to the coaching staff, kudos to the players, but they were unable to get past Fairfield.
Yeah, Marist had a fantastic season, and technically Marist had a better season last year, but in the regular season, best season we've had in 14 years. And the result, although not as good as last season, I'd say is a fair result. You can't really, in the history, you have to take a look at the history of our program, the Marist basketball program. In the last 15 years, we haven't had any success, really. And this year and last year, that's changing. The players are built differently. The postseason success, though not making the March Madness tournament, of course, this year was our year, was Marist's year. I was saying that throughout. We had technically a relatively much more relaxed route without Iona and Patino. But I feel like this could continue on. The only issue is now Merrimack is coming in, and they are a much better team than anyone in this conference. Depending on who stays there, they're going to come in and be the perennial number one seed if they keep their roster. So we had our chance, but I don't think it's going to be taken away for the next couple of years. I think that this season was a success.
Yeah, I think it was interesting also to see once the MAAC tournament ended, everyone jump ship from their schools, and that's kind of just what the MAAC is. It's a stepping stone for the best players to get seen and then get to a Power 5 conference, which is interesting.
Yeah, the other thing is, though, with the MAAC, it's a kind of a very friendly family environment in the case of March Madness, because we're all rooting for St. Peter's. We get money. Marist gets money if St. Peter's makes it again, so why not root for St. Peter's? We want to see the MAAC succeed. It's not a competitive vibe once March Madness hits. I was rooting for Iona last year. I'm rooting, and we're going to talk about this in a couple of minutes now, Fairfield on the women's side. It's a family conference, and we want to see others succeed.
You know, there's actually two March Madnesses now, because there's the March Madness that began while we're taping this week, and then, of course, when this drops, the first weekend will have been gone already on both the men's and women's side. But the second March Madness is the transfer portal, which opened on Monday, and there was a lot of comments that, why was it on Monday? It's taking away from the tournament. And I think that what you'll probably see, if there's enough pressure from within, that they'll push it back maybe another week or 10 days, because it's really only people on the inside who think about those things, but when you do analyze it, St. John's rejected the NIT so that they could start working on the transfer portal. So they said, Seton Hall, they decided to go to the NIT. Each school has a different philosophy, but Marist has also been hit by the transfer portal.
Yes, Marist has. As we have technically 3 transfers, 2 real transfers, and then a 3 we'll talk about our third in a moment. We have Noah Harris, who announced that he's entering the transfer portal. I'd say a fair guard. He's had some injury woes this season with his shoulder, but he can be on the market. I don't know if he wants to go up and down in the conference, but I think he has a good role wherever he finds. And then, of course, Isaiah Brickner, who last night, taping this, entered the transfer portal. Brickner, a little bit of a different situation because we're not exactly sure where he is right now as a basketball player. In the 23 season, he had a fantastic year, especially in the tournament in Atlantic City. This year, he had a little bit of a lull. His minutes went down, his production went down. So it would be good to see him bounce back. I think at a little bit of a lower conference, say the MAAC, the MAAC, the NEC, the NEAC. I think he can be honestly a star player anywhere, even in conference if he goes to a lower tier MAAC school. But I think Brickner genuinely is a strange case because he's athletic, he's a freak, and he can really play basketball the right way. This season, production just went down, but I think he can bring that back up. And then technically, Javon Cooley is done here at Marist. He was a 3-year graduate and did his 4th year as a graduate, so he can't play here again. He can transfer and do another master's degree if he chooses, or he can call his collegiate career quits, but I think he will end up going somewhere else to play 1 more year, maybe near his home in Chicago. But that is all we have on the Marist side, and the MAAC, though, has a lot more transfer scare.
And Javon Cooley, also a big fashion guy. There was
Big
a
fashion
story
guy.
about
Big
him.
fashion
So
guy.
that's an interesting thing. You never know how he's going to look at. Maybe he wants to start the real world and begin the next chapter. I thought that was a great story on him. So we put that to bed. We'll see what kind of work Marist does on the transfer portal or whatever. Last year they had a pro. Patrick Gardner is a pro.
Yep.
They didn't have a pro this year. A lot of good players. Brickner, I think, is an interesting situation because he's not really a great ball handler. He's kind of a tweener, very athletic, so I don't know in terms of level of play where that's going to work,
A lot of other MAAC transfers, though. The MAAC is losing most of their conference this year, as happens a lot in these types of conferences. Dakota LaFew is transferring. Bullock is transferring out of Niagara. You have, who else? You have Tekin on Siena. You also have on Siena, the other Siena, not Dewar Gordon. Oh my goodness. The other Siena, Michael Eli, I believe, is transferring. The MAAC is losing a lot of their star power. Iona has 8 players in the portal already. So we'll see what changes
March
next
Madness,
year.
man.
It's March Madness.
Yeah.
So speaking of March Madness, let's jump quickly into the tournaments, men and women. Personally, the one player I want to see is Caitlin Clark. I'm sorry, I can't wait to see when she plays.
As you
the
should.
men's are parity all along, but she is the star of this March. I don't think there's any question about that. Her first round game is on ABC, and so looking forward to that. So who do you got? Men, women advancing and capturing the crown.
Before I give an answer, I just want to say, to relate to all the students that are part of the student section, it gives me nostalgia every time that March Madness comes about, because in middle school and high school, I just remember every single day sitting on my phone, watching the games. I'm sure you did the same thing, just not paying attention in class, and that was pretty much...
Now you can just cut class.
And exactly.
I actually had spring break I had 1 day of in school, and then I'd be on spring break for the entire tournament.
It's a great day.
The round of
Tomorrow's a great day.
64,
As we
it's
take it.
fantastic because you could just watch all day.
It's just great.
But for picks, I like New Mexico. They're an 11 seed. Their first round matchups against Clemson.
You like them to win the whole thing?
No, not the whole thing.
Give me the whole thing.
The whole thing. I'm going to go with Auburn. Auburn as
Bruce Pearl.
Yeah, he's a good coach. They have a good story. Have you heard about their student coach? He is a cancer. I don't know if he's past it yet, but he had cancer, and when he was like 12 years old, he reached out to Bruce Pearl. They did a story
Yes, I did
on
hear
it.
about this.
And Bruce Pearl said once you get to college and you come to Auburn, because he was a big Auburn fan, I'll have you on the staff. And the kid was saying how like that pretty much saved his life and gave him motivation to continue fighting the cancer. And now he's on the staff, and Bruce Pearl pretty much treats him as his son. So I think that, along with, they are very talented, and I think out of any team within the UConn part of the bracket, I think Auburn's the one team that can mix it up and make some noise.
Always bringing that journalistic side to the table. Outstanding. Thrill, what do you got?
Yeah, I got 3 picks for you. I'm going to go basic, and I'm going to go UConn.
Yeah.
Just because they're favorites, and they are a fantastic team. I think the other team, though, that really can give a good run, Houston, another 1 seed. And then for my non-number 1 seed, you might think, oh my goodness, what am I talking about? I really like the chances of it's going to be another 12 seed. I really love San Diego State.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
That's why this is America. Everybody's
That's
entitled to
right.
their opinion.
Yep.
I am going with the only good team I saw in person, and I'm going with the team that has Sampson, Roosevelt, Johnson coming off the bench from Tago. That would be UConn. They bring that guy off the bench. Very, very difficult second-team guy. They also have a pro on their first team. His name escapes me.
Donovan
The
Clingan.
Rookie of the Year.
Donovan. Oh, yes.
Castle.
Yes,
Stephen
Castle.
Castle.
They have
who I
two
think
good
is
guards.
a pro.
Yeah.
And I'm going chalk, UConn. But more importantly, they play their first round in Brooklyn. Their second rounds in Boston.
Yes.
They don't leave the East Coast. So I'm going chalk. I'm going UConn. And on the women's side, my hope is that Iowa can make it to the Final Four. I think that would be great for basketball.
Yeah. I like Notre Dame on the women's side. They would play South Carolina at some point. I think that they'll put up a good fight against them because they do have a good freshman, and it's going to be tough to beat South Carolina. No one has done it this year, but it's the same for UConn. If someone can beat that top-tier team that's all alone by themselves, they can ride that momentum out for the rest of the tournament and I think win it.
Yeah, I really honestly hope Fairfield makes a run, and they are very capable of doing so.
Absolutely. Their
team is meshes so well together. I know they're playing MAAC opponents mostly, but they mesh so well. Nicoletti Leite, Janelle Brown, the MAAC Player of the Year. If they get they don't even have to. Their defense and their offense is 100%. If they can stop one of these bigger teams,
Indiana's a tough first-round matchup.
Yeah, I think they can get to the 16.
If you win, the thing is, everybody in this tournament is a good team on both men and women's side. You can never count anybody out. And when you win 29 in a row, that's a huge deal.
JMU against Duke in the men's side.
That's a huge deal when you win.
JMU could possibly take that.
All right. We're going to go from the hardwood to the softball diamond. Coming up next, the always effervescent, the always bubbly Alyssa Grupp from Florida, the state, and also from Poughkeepsie, will be joining us on the student section. Thank you, everyone, from the bleachers. Thank you. Alyssa Grupp coming up next. This episode is brought to you by the Hudson Valley Renegades. Their season opener is April 16th. You can check their website for more information on tickets. They used to be only a June, July, August team, but now that they are an affiliate of the New York Yankees, they play real baseball starting on April 16th. And if you want to see some of the young Yankee guns, Spencer Jones just called up for spring training, played for the Renegades last year. And if Zolzer gives us tickets, we may have him on as a guest. So thank you, Hudson Valley Renegades, for jumping on the bandwagon and being a sponsor of the hottest podcast in college sports, the student section. The student section is back. Let us welcome Robert Seifert to the student section. First appearance this year. He's been behind the scenes as one of our producers, and he has joined us as we put the spotlight on the hottest team on the Marist campus, that being the women's softball team with star infielder Alyssa Grupp.
You
Let's
know
have
it.
a nice
Welcome.
round of applause.
Welcome, Alyssa.
Welcome.
You know.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you guys for having me.
course.
I'm really excited.
Well, you won't be in about 10 minutes, but at least you are right now.
I can't wait. Yeah, I'm excited.
Great.
And so one of the traditions is, I don't know if you know, that you're sitting next to the esteemed voice
All right.
of Marist soccer and Marist lacrosse, who secretly wants to take my job as the PA announcer for basketball
Gary,
and
Gary,
football. But that being said, Will, bring Alyssa to the batter's
I'd love
box.
to. Number 4, I got some matcha before this, so a little energized. You had 2 coffees.
I've had 2 coffees
So
today.
we're an energized
I've
group
had,
here.
I've had 0, but I got it in me. I don't need it.
All right, number 4 for the Foxes. Leading off for the Red Foxes, number 4, Alyssa Grupp.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, Alyssa. We
like
start
a-
off hot.
So
and Rob, welcome to the show.
Are you gonna cue me in with the voice?
No.
Not necessarily.
Student section doesn't get the call. Walk-up music. Do you have walk-up music in softball? What
Yep,
is yours?
it's getting debuted tomorrow for the first time against Quinnipiac. So I've kept it. I've done 10K for a while, which is like a Christian rap song. But I've decided to do. We have 2, so that's my second one this year. And my first one's A-OK. Going a little
A-OK.
Phillies route on that one.
Okay.
Yep, Bryson Stott had to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
No pun intended. Okay.
So we have a lot to talk about. I have a little complaint though. First, it's not about you, but this is the complaint.
Starting
off
off on
cold.
deep trouble
No,
here.
this is the
I'm not
complaint.
surprised.
So in doing the extensive research, we have a crack
research team.
department. On your bio, and I had a long time to think about this on the drive here today. On your bio, it says utility player. Now, a utility player is a bench player. And one of the great utility players
Joey
in
Wendell's
Yankee
yelling.
history, Randy Velarde. He was great. He could play center field. He could play left field. He could play third base. He could play second base. And he started when guys got hurt. But you, Will has his hand raised. You are a starter. Why doesn't it say infielder as opposed to utility person?
Well, I think it's because I've had a little. I've called it my Eras tour, kind of.
Are you on Disney Plus?
Oh gosh. No, I've played left field here. Then last year I played third base, which was a wild card for me. Second base. I think the whole outfield thing makes it a utility for me.
When was the last time you played outfield?
I played there this season in Abilene Christian.
See,
I don't like
here's
utility.
here's a question.
Go ahead. I don't
DJ
like
LeMahieu, utility player.
Well, but he's not listed as a utility player. He's listed as
you
third-
can't be
second
listed as
base, third
utility
base.
player in the major leagues.
But to me,
That's not a technical.
To me, utility signals off.
Would
the
you?
bench.
Here's the question though. Would you identify more with being labeled as one position, or do you feel the need? Do you feel more welcomed as a utility player?
Your majority of your time is as an infielder.
Yeah, I've said, like, I would say most of my playing time here has been in the infield, but always there to go in left field when I
Of course,
need to.
because you can do that. But I'm just saying that to me, that doesn't signify who you are, which is a legit starter for this team that is 18-8,
It's a
won the MAAC
unbelievable.
championship last year. It got me a little teed off as I was driving.
What about
up
a team
because I was
player? I
thinking
think
about that.
utility screams team player.
A team player, but she's a starter, legit. Just
Yeah.
sports information department's not going to listen to me.
Thank you, Gary.
Give them, So I just wanted to give you your props there.
Oh, thank you.
Before the student section, and they have lots of questions. Just take us to that 11-game streak. That have you ever been involved in a streak that long? And if you have or you haven't, give us the vibe that was going on. That was very, very impressive.
No, I've never been a part of a streak that long. It was actually insane. So coming off of Abilene, you always, like, the first weekend's always a toss-up. You never know what you're getting. It was freezing cold there, wind, not going to make that an excuse, but we wiped that weekend. We went into, what was our second weekend? Where were we at? Not sure where we were at. It's like kind of a blur, but we just went we were on fire, and it was like we would just show up, and I've never had full confidence that we were going to go out there and win a game, no matter if we were down or we were up, or like I just knew whoever was going to be out there was going to win us the game, and it was a great feeling. Winning's fun. Winning is obviously really fun to do, and especially with this group we have this year, it was sad to see the streak come to an end, but like they say, all good things have to come to an end. So it was good to get back down there, and we had another one rolling for a little bit. I think it was like 5 after we lost to UNF, but yeah, I'm excited. Hopefully we can get another one going for conference.
Yeah, this team is special. The team last year special, MAAC champions. We're making waves here. We're making waves at this school. What does the Schneider section have to say on this?
Cipher section.
Cipher section. Oh boy.
Ouch.
That's on me.
No, that was an impressive run last year. I'm curious, what are you guys bringing from last year into this season that kept you on that streak, you think?
I would say I've said this, and I said it in like the before the season interview. I don't really want to compare last year's team to this year's team because it's so different personality-wise, personnel, everything under the sun. But I would say just having softball be fun and like knowing that we're playing for each other. I think that's been a constant in the past 2 years is playing for the group and not playing for like own individual.
This seems to be a theme within Marist sports. Mm-hmm. You want to play for this year, put the last year in the past. We heard that with Sasha. We heard that with Josh. It's a theme because there is success, but at the same time, you want that success to stay in a little bit of the back of your head because you know it's a success story, but you want to kind of change the team over to a different kind of mentality, right? Yeah,
100%. I think it takes each year you're going to have a different personality of the team. And last year's team, it was awesome. We just had so much fun playing with each other. And I would say it really rolled over into this year too. Obviously, having like 5 or 6 new faces on the team, it's pretty hard when you lose that same amount from the year before. You never know what you're going to get. That's a large portion of an 18-person team that we have. And so we were pretty, not like worried, I don't think that's the right term to use, but it was pleasantly surprising after that first weekend to like be out there and start getting on that roll and just knowing how fun it was to play with them.
So when you left for the summer after the championship run, playing, schools in the NCAA, tremendous experience, you had to be talking to the other returning members wondering how Coach Joe was going to reload. That had to be in the back of your mind because you've had this success. You're a senior. You want to go out on a winning note. You had to be a little, I wouldn't say concerned, but curious as to how you were going to reload. So when did you see that reload was successful?
Well, I would say Coach Joe does a really good job at obviously recruiting, right? And so he talks very highly of every recruit that he brings in. And so each year we know that the people that he brings in are going to kind of be like a very essential part and play a very high role in each team that we have. And so he talked very highly of all of them coming in. So we were really eager to see what they were going to perform like. And so when we got out there, first fall practices, we're like, okay, this group's good. I think it really hit like our first live inter-squad scrimmage. You can kind of like see them for the first time going against really good pitchers like Kylie and Maddie Pleasance and stuff like that. But I think it was the first fall game, the first couple fall games when you got to put them against an opposing team, although they were Division II teams, just being able to see them thrive in their own element and kind of get those nerves off of them because it is really nervous coming in as a freshman, especially on after a championship winning season. You want to produce to the highest ability that you can. And I think it was after those first couple fall games we were like, okay, they're good. And they're good and they have good energy and they kind of fit the mold of the team that we've had in the previous years.
Where in relation to other sports, softball and baseball start the season quite possibly the latest.
Yeah.
So you come to school in the fall, right? You don't come early, do you?
No.
Okay. There's no need. Yeah. You come to school early, or you come to school in the regular time frame, and you have all that time minus some exhibition until you really ramp up And it's unlike other sports who either start right away, have the practices that go right away, and then they begin the season for the fall season. You have kind of a lull, and then you have a little more, and then you ramp up real quick. Do you prefer that, or would you, as I know the season doesn't permit it, would you rather go right into play or right into intense practice?
The weather is certainly better in the fall.
I know.
Yeah.
Would you rather have a go and then a break? Or what is your personal preference?
Coach Joe says this. He says he wishes it was a fall sport, just weather-wise, and especially we travel a lot, so we have to go farther away to play in better climates, which, I mean, selfishly, I really like, and it's a really good experience. We went to Hawaii last year, so I really can't complain. But
Hawaii and Poughkeepsie, though.
yeah, they're
Right
similar.
there,
They go
right
hand
there.
in
Is there a
hand.
difference? I'm just curious.
I think, personally for me, I like playing in the spring. I like where we are. I like finishing in May. I like that. I think playing in the fall would be weird, having it be a senior and then have nothing come the spring.
Yeah.
I think that would be a weird thing for
You
me.
should reach out to the football team.
I know. And I was like, I just think it would be so, I think that'd just be a weird feeling knowing that like I get it done with and I still have an extra semester. I like starting with a group, building that chemistry, the team chemistry. You have all the fall. It's not like you have to come in the summer early and build that then and then go right into season. I like having that fall time because you really do build a lot of team chemistry and culture throughout that time.
Off the field, too, right?
Yeah, you
definitely.
get to like go do things, and we have like team dinners before our first couple games in the fall and stuff like that just sets the tone, and I think that really helps. So I would selfishly, I like it being in the spring.
Does that like generate some sort of like new level of excitement that have you played any other sports that you don't really get during those? Having that off season in the fall where you're kind of getting to know them a little bit, then you have a little break and then bam, it ramps right up. It's got to build some sort of excitement, right?
Yeah, it does. And I think especially, so in the spring, actually, Coach Joe gives us the first week off of each semester. So in the fall and the spring, we get the first week to just go to classes. But after that, we have like 3 weeks of just practice in the spring before that's our preseason time. And I think like that, it doesn't get monotonous because we do different things, but it's like we just want to play someone else. We get so eager. And so I think like we get to the point where like, let's go play someone else. Like we get really excited. But yeah, I don't know.
So
I think
in your preseason wrap up, the MAAC season starts. When it drops, you'll have already played, but when we tape, you're playing tomorrow, so it's a little weird. But you had a tournament in Jacksonville, which is home. So how was that the first tournament in your 4 years that you played in Jacksonville? So that must have been an ode to you that they were going to try to schedule something at home for you. That must have been great.
Yeah, that was maybe one of the most full circle moments I've ever had as a softball player. It really, not like it gets me emotional. I've just played for so long, and being able to go home was something. And it gets hard for my family to come up here a lot and watch me play. And so I had family, friends, old coaches all be able to come watch me play like 20 minutes from home.
That's great.
It was like the most full circle moment for like not only like me, myself as a player, but my family to watch. And I played against like half of the JU starters, the Jacksonville starters, were my old travel ball
that's
teammates.
great.
So I have like pictures and stuff with them, and all my old coaches came, and it was just something that like I'll always remember that for the rest of my life. And it was a really big weekend for Coach Joe too, because that's his alma mater. Yeah. So he played at baseball at JU. So it was one of those where I continuously thank him. Like I couldn't be more than thankful for him for doing that for me. But it was a really cool experience.
I feel like Marist does a fantastic. Is fantastic in the scheduling department, trying to get these people, not just yourself, but like throughout. I've been here 1 year. I hear these stories from other people. The scheduling, they try and
Lots of exposure.
a lot of exposure, and they try and get like to the personal level versus the let's try and fit in the best matchup. They want it to make a little more of a personal feel, and I commend everyone who works on that.
Now, in my extensive research, I have sources that some of the other people don't have. And you are the only Florida recruit ever for Coach Joe. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
You're the only Gator. So I want to talk a little bit about, give us a little insight into how that recruiting went. He said he went and did a clinic in Florida and was not going to leave without you. So how did that manifest itself? And then to make the decision, like when you were thinking of schools, were you thinking big, medium, small, or you always wanted to go to a small school? Because I always found in going to college that the best thing for prospective students, whether they're an athlete or not, to decide what size school they want to go to. And if you pick two, then you at least can eliminate one. So give us a little insight into the Coach Joe recruiting pitch to get you to come to the tropical barrens of Poughkeepsie.
Oh gosh.
It's not tropical? No?
I don't think so. I think we have some
the train station's right here. Though,
Oh,
It's nice. You can go wherever you want.
Well, Coach Joe, he I don't even know where to begin, but he really is just like a personable person. He does a very good job on that aspect, and he always preaches it like, I don't want you only like for the next 4 years, I want you for the next 40 years. So he was like, I want to like be invited to your weddings. I want like, it just like felt personal when I came up here, and he just really cared about you as a person. And so developing you and to a good human, not only just what you can do on the field. Obviously, that's a great aspect to it as well. And seeing success in a player is great, but he really just cares about you as a person. I think that was really important to me. I think for myself personally, I was a little bit more, like being from the South, I'm very undersized for a softball player. So I was very self-aware in that aspect of, I don't think Florida or no big school is, like, I just don't fit the mold for a stereotypical bigger school player. And Coach Joe really not like took a chance on me. Like I always say, like he took a chance on me, because that's, you never know what you're going to get when you're recruiting a kid. But I was just very overlooked for a while because of my size, because I'm 5'2", and I like to say 5'3". I add an inch here or there. But he was just like, it just, him recruiting in general, like it just made me feel like this was home. Like right when I stepped on campus, it felt like home.
Yeah, connection. There was a connection that he. Your parents, how did they take to him and your siblings?
So actually, it was just my mom who came up on the visit with me. And so my dad didn't get to see the school, nor I have an older sister who's 4 years older than me, and she was in college at the time playing softball at East Tennessee State. So me and my mom were just on the visit together. I watched a doubleheader against Siena. I remember it vividly, rainy day in April.
Beautiful.
Gloomy
What
as-
better than a Chamber of Commerce day to get you to come to school?
Yep. Wasn't the most glamorous day, but I was like, I see the potential. I could see it be really pretty here. We go into the office. He tells me he wants me to be a Red Fox. I'm like, okay. Just talking about like, oh, my dad. Like, I'd love for like him to come up and see it. He gives my dad a call. And he just like intertwined all my family into that like room in the moment, like called my dad, called my sister, and was like, do you feel comfortable with like your daughter coming this far away? And he actually sold it really well. And not sold it, I was already sold, but he said, Alyssa, you can go to a school down in the southwestern part of Florida and drive 5.5 hours, or you could take a 2-hour flight and be in Poughkeepsie. So, and I think that really kind of put it in perspective that I always wanted to go far away too. So I did it.
And you ended up in the beautiful Hudson Valley.
Oh,
Welcome.
gosh. Best 4 years.
Now, the other tidbit is that you always wear short sleeves when you play.
Yep.
What's that about?
So, I was always worried about the cold weather, and Coach Joe thinks I'm crazy. He still thinks I'm crazy. It could be like 30-something degrees outside. We're on the turf. I'm in short sleeves, like a short sleeve shirt and my shorts.
Yeah.
I can't do
insane.
fabric. I said this today. Like I can't play in a hoodie. Like it just makes me feel.
Don't do fabric.
That's
Like,
good
it
for the vegan community.
That's great. You don't
just-
do fabric.
It just feels too bulky playing softball. Like I need to feel
But
like
some
loose.
of these early spring games
Are
that you
freezing.
play,
Like today and yesterday, today and tomorrow are freezing.
and it's not like lacrosse or something or soccer where you're running base. Softball you're stationary.
Yeah, I'll be in an Under Armour sometimes, but like especially during practice, I just am always moving. Like second base is a really interesting spot because you're always
Not
like
utility. Second
base.
base. Thank you.
Oh gosh. You're going for like cuts, relays, turning double plays, bunt coverage. So I feel like I'm always moving, always doing something. So that really warms me up a lot. I was honestly very nervous for the weather, but I think I've kind of adjusted really well.
I think I will hopefully be calling some of your games on whatever platform we do. Is there something that you prefer when watching? I know at the stadium it's a little janky the way some of the stuff is handled. Is there something that you like to? What's your thing that I can look out for? Is there some sort of thing you always do once you hit base? Superstition, reoccurring. This and that and bada bing. And
What's my niche?
Niche.
My niche. So, well, okay, right now, it happened at Canisius during the MAAC tournament.
It always happens at Canisius.
Always does. It's a trap there. It was the MAAC tournament, and we always do like a backwards dab if we get
the jab. I love the jab.
So we do like that if we get a single. And I told Haley R. and her mom right before I said, if I get a double in this next game, I didn't think I was. I said, if I get a double next game, I'm doing the backwards dab into the sprinkler.
Softball gods heard you.
And they heard me, and I did
gods
it, and I
heard
did
you.
the sprinkler, and ever since then, it's been going. So I would say
sprinkler.
the backwards dab into the sprinkler. Oh,
Interesting.
You know what, Gary? Sorry.
I'm just
You know what the dab is?
I'm just a passenger.
Are you familiar with the dab though?
Yes, of course.
I think you should
Yes,
show
I
us
am.
the reverse stab into the sprinkler.
I think we all have to do that. In honor, we got to do it. Ready? Wide camera. Ready and go. There you go. This is prime.
oh wait, I hit the sprinkler with it. Dang it.
I
Okay.
did the sprinkler too.
Oh.
Nice.
Okay, that, and I play with a lot of energy, so I don't know. There's been pictures that have been like posted like NCAA softball, and I don't know if I want to like reenact. It's like always me like I always get like there's a strikeout.
Well,
and
that's you though.
It's so me. I'm like
Nothing's fake.
no,
great.
you
All
know,
organic.
It just organic.
No fabric, organic. We're doing it the right way
Oh
here.
gosh.
You know, you talked about strikeouts. I have a stat here from last year that you struck out once every 19 and a half at-bats, which was 45th in the country. So your ability to put bat on ball is impressive.
Gosh. Yeah. No, that was something I've really.
Miss utility.
That's been something I've really strived to do is be a contact hitter. Now that stat really isn't going to translate into this year because I've already struck out 8 times already. But I did say sometimes, and this is where I think it kind of bites me in the wrong way. Sometimes with being a contact hitter, I just swing to contact sometimes and I don't hit the ball as hard. So I told myself this year, I said, I want to swing the bat harder. And if I strike out a little bit more, I can take it. But I think that's definitely been something that I've worked really. Striking out obviously isn't fun for anybody to do, but I've really been like very prideful in like the contact hitter role for the team.
Now, this morning I was watching the Dodgers and the Padres from South Korea, and you and one of the Dodgers have a very strong connection. Do you know what that is?
You both embezzle gambling money?
No. This woman of faith here, she's not worried about that. That in high school you picked up bowling,
Oh my gosh.
and one of the Dodgers is an expert bowler.
Mookie
Betts.
Mookie Betts.
Is an expert bowler. So
Yes.
how did that, how was that?
How is my
Yeah.
illustrious bowling
And do you
career?
still bowl at all? I mean, have you
What's the career high?
Okay, so
Yeah.
I bowled a 180, but okay, that's not like too high, right? So this is how it all started. So go back to like my.
You didn't think we were going bowling today when we asked you to come here.
No, I had no idea you were
Full of
ever going to talk
surprises.
about my really long bowling career.
You ever do a turkey?
No.
No. What's
But
a
when I
turkey?
saw Mookie, I
in a
said,
row.
and I saw the bowling, I said, this is a natural tie-in.
So my junior year of high school, I did 2 sports at the time. So I did weightlifting and I did softball. And bowling was a fall sport. And so the softball team, we were pretty bored and we were like, okay, like we're not in season, we're not doing anything. Let's
just do
join
something.
let's join the bowling team and become 3-sport athletes. And we roll up. We had no idea what we were getting ourselves into. Like they had cuts. Like it was JV and varsity bowling. And I was up there. I was picking up my bowling ball from Bowl America, picking up my shoes. Girls are rolling up with like professional balls, and I'm like, these are legit bowlers.
This must be a Florida thing. I've never heard of a school having a bowling team.
My high school had a bowling team.
Really?
We have Gene, our producer, was a bowler in high school.
Really?
I believe the captain.
Wow, good for you guys.
And I would roll up there, and I would just try and bowl it down the middle every time. And some days it would go really well. And, it was like the funniest thing. It was the AP psych teacher, was the bowling coach. And I'm in class, and I didn't do it my senior year because I was just focusing on like getting ready for like college softball and all that stuff, like just being in the gym a lot. And she goes, Alyssa, only if you were on the bowling team this year, you would have made it to states in front of the entire class. And I was like, at least I would have made it to states for something, I guess.
Now, you are a Florida girl. I read something where your perfect day when you were a senior, you got done with class at 10, then you went to the beach all day, and then went to softball practice at 5. That was your perfect day. That was your day.
Yep. My senior year was a little unreal in that aspect. I had early senior leave, so I got out early. On A day, I'd get out at 10:20, and B day, I'd get out at 12:20. So I would have all that time until like 5 or 6 p.m. That's when our practice was then. And so what other to do than go to the beach? I mean, when you're that close, like, heck yeah, you're going to go all the time. And it was, looking back on it, I felt like I lived in now I'm like, man, that wasn't real life. Like, I could just go to the beach after doing like 1 or 2 classes a day. But it was like the best. It was the best.
See, Will would go to the Subway. That was the difference. And not Subway sandwich.
No.
Will would go down into the Subway.
I'm a city guy. I really don't love the beach, but that sounds very relaxing, and I probably would adjust pretty well.
I was a lot more tan than I am now, so I
Well, there's a beach, I think, by the Hudson River. It's like 12 feet wide, so I think that's all we get here.
You got to be creative.
Gotta be
Have
creative.
to.
Only in
Poughkeepsie.
Hawaii. Poughkeepsie.
We just saw with the women's basketball team, we were talking about this before, a lot of injuries for seniors as they complete their careers. How are you feeling health-wise, and do you ever think about that? You guys play a lot. It's a lot of demand on your body. How are you making it now at this particular point health-wise as you're getting ready for, the real season, which is your conference season?
Yeah, I feel honestly pretty good. I sometimes say Coach Joe steals me sometimes. Like, he'll delay steal me, and I'm diving around, and I'm like, I can't be diving like I'm 15 again. I get up, and I'm like, ooh. But I honestly feel really good. I think the only thing is I put the oven mitt back on because I jammed my fingers the other weekend. But luckily, nothing was wrong. So the oven mitt's back on. It takes up half my arm. But I honestly feel great, which I'm surprised about, especially being old now. Older. Not old.
Older.
Not old.
Have you been aware, or are you conscious, or been observer of where women's sports have come since you actually have been in college? I mean, we're seeing what's happening with Caitlin Clark in women's basketball, and are you aware of that stuff? And also, the television ratings for softball over the past several years have been skyrocketing. Are you aware of all that stuff and, what's going on?
Yeah, what a shift it's been, honestly. And, it just has progressed so much since after COVID, especially. Even, the Nebraska volleyball game where they sold out the stadium, insane. I could not tell you how nervous I would be to be playing in front of 92,000 people.
92.
Insane. Caitlin Clark is awesome. It's jaw-dropping what she does, and it's a tip your cap moment because that's a once-in-a-generational talent, you'll see, I feel like. And Oklahoma softball. When you think of softball and NCAA, I think your mind just immediately shifts to Oklahoma. They have a platform, and they use it really dang well. They express their faith in a great way, and a lot of people respect them and what they do. So just for them to have that new stadium they built, it is an electric atmosphere there, and it is insane. Everything they do is sold out, which
So
is cool.
but how does all this make you feel as a female athlete? Not that I'm a dinosaur, but I am. But when I was growing up, this did not happen. There was not, until Title IX, there was not any of this co-playing field for men and for women. And now it just seems that it's just the trend has got to make you, as a female athlete, feel really good, I would think.
Yeah, it makes me feel great. especially like to see how far it's come just in the short amount of time, and to see like that all the new like little girls and like young girls that are going to grow up and want to play sports, that they have this to look up to now. Instead, like there's like professions that can be made out of it and like real money to be made, which is like really exciting. And as I just get really excited, like to be a part of like paving the way for like the future, like young girls to grow up and play a sport and have fun.
It's a big shift. We've really seen a big shift since COVID. A lot of people are trying to tune in as much as they can, whether it be in person. And speaking of in person, at Marist, I asked this question to everyone we have here. What is something, if you could direct this message, what is something that you would say to the fans here at Marist College?
I would say that, well, the fans, I'm trying to think. Well, softball is in a little hidden spot.
I know.
So,
That's exact. See, this is a perfect question. Where give a rundown.
Yeah, that's why we're putting a spotlight on it, because it is like you got to find that softball field.
A lot of people ask me, like, we have a softball field on campus.
I think there's one tiny sign right next to one.
Garland
that says
and
Garland
then
Athletic
softball.
Field.
Yeah, that softball. I would say to the fan students, anything that like a softball game is really fun to come watch, especially with the location we're at. I know it's a little hidden. It's by like Gartland, but like we have the hill.
It's an awesome view.
It's an awesome view and a great view to like you could just sit on top of the hill and watch softball games. I would say like come out just if it's a nice like sunny April day. Like what's better than to just sit out there and watch some balls, hopefully.
I'm really looking forward to a nice sunny day.
Yeah, me too.
Will not be out there unless it's at least above 50 degrees.
That's not true. I'm a supporter. You know it.
So I only have one last thing as we get into spring and summer. If I wanted to get some good Italian ices and good gelato, as someone who is an experienced Italian ice and gelato employee, I believe it was Jeremiah's Italian Ices.
The best.
What flavors would be your recommendation?
Okay, are you more like, do you like savory or do you like?
I have a sweet tooth.
Like sweet tooth.
Yeah.
So I would recommend the cookie butter crumble or the Oreo mud pie. So that's
These are gelatos.
Yep,
Okay.
it's okay. So the Oreo mud pie is a cookies and cream Italian ice.
Oh wow! Wow.
Yep, Jeremiah's
great.
it's the best. Don't worry, I took the entire team there, and they've shifted from Rita's to Jeremiah's, of course. So Oreo mud pies, cookies and cream, swirl ice cream, and then Oreo crumbles on top.
Whew.
Fan favorite. And then the cookie butter crumble. Have you ever had the Biscoff like cookie butter, like the cookies?
Yeah.
Like on the
Delta
airplanes.
plane,
Yep.
There you go.
So it's a cookie butter Italian ice, vanilla ice cream, and cookie butter crumbles.
Wow.
Those sound good. I rarely venture off from like Nutella.
Robert, could you
I
dig that?
only blue raspberry. If I see Italian ice, blue raspberry,
Really?
maybe cherry.
There's a blueberry. I feel like a little
These are
kid.
artisanal. I like it. I'm a big,
Yeah.
big
An
into
aristocrat.
Cotton candy's an underdog.
I'm with that
telling
one too.
Yeah.
I'm none of the chocolate or nothing. I'm
Really?
very simple. No, I'm not.
Cotton
Milk chocolate. That's
candy?
it. I'm very picky.
Strawberry and chocolate's a good one. Too.
Yep.
You ever do the? You cone or cup?
Well, you have to get so the
You have to.
Italian
You have
Italian
to
ice
do
cream
it.
cup.
you have to do
Okay.
it in the cup because it's a water based. Look, I'm getting all technical here.
I like it. I like it.
Listen,
A real professional.
if you do it, we'll break it down. I mean, you're breaking down gelato and Italian ices for us.
I
So.
am. It's the least I can do. I'm a 3-year employee. Not anymore though. I'm done.
You ever go to the city? There's this place called Anita Gelato. Okay. They do this thing where they put it in a cup in a cone.
Yeah.
And then they do little you're gonna make fun of me here, Garrett. They do they use the scooper, which is not a scooper. It's more like a shiv. And they
A shiv?
Yeah, and then they like sculpt it on the cone in like a flower way. You might have seen it on Instagram or whatever.
Maybe.
And then they put a cup on top, so you could lick. You get to the bottom.
Can you
and then
bring us a
put it into
picture of
cup.
that? It's little-
I will. We'll put it right here. Sorry, Gene.
And
But gelato Italian food. What's your go-to non-sweet Italian food?
Italian food? Wait, what?
Italian food. What's your go-to Italian food?
Oh, I'm like the most picky eater
Oh.
ever. So you don't even want to hear my answer.
Chicken Parmesan.
Is that too much?
It's too much.
Oh,
Wow.
real.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Spaghetti?
Spaghetti?
Yeah.
Rigatoni?
Yeah. I can do that.
Okay.
So we can't let you leave before we allow you to crow about your Pittsburgh Steelers. They've had a tremendous offseason. They had some stunning moves. Go for it.
Oh, what a time to be a Steelers fan. Let me tell you. Clean the quarterback room out. I'm not complaining here. Okay. Justin Fields, Russell Wilson. I'm excited to see what they're going to get going there.
Kenny Pickett, have a nice day.
Kenny plane ticket.
See ya.
Money Mitch. Waste of money. No offense, so sorry.
That was pretty bold moves by the front office.
I've never seen anything like it. Patrick Queen, our defense.
It's a good thing.
She can break it. You can tell.
Things are happening.
She's going into a glaze right now.
I am so thrilled and excited to be a Pittsburgh Steelers fan right now because, you lose Ben, right? Ben was old, and then you bring Kenny.
Eventually, you do get old, yeah.
Eventually, yeah. Great career, so fun to watch, but then you get Kenny Pickett, and I feel like we never scored touchdowns. And it was
I think there was a little shift in organizational confusion there, too.
Yeah, there was a little lull there for a minute, but I think it's Omar Khan. Is that our front office? He's killing it. He's doing insane. And I'm thrilled. I'm so excited.
And you got the Pirates.
The Pirates, yeah.
They're fair.
O'Neal Cruz, I think I just read this stat. I'm not too sure. He's at like 7. Okay, I'm going to mess it up. I don't know if it's 7 home runs and 30-something at bats. I may have messed that up completely. Rumor has it, according to me, that's happened. I'm not too sure.
I happen to have worked for the Rooney family who owns the Steelers.
Really?
Yeah, back in the day. So, not on the football side.
You were a player, right?
Any connection?
Actually, I was a tailback. No. But I did work for the family, and it was like working for the Kennedys of the sports world. It was pretty interesting. Yeah, we don't need to go into that. That's past history.
Let's keep it golden in my head. Don't.
Good luck on the upcoming season. I'm sure you'll see Will. Hopefully, I think I'll be able to make it to a couple games. Rob will drone in and sell some
I live right by the hill.
side.
I'll be right there.
But good luck to defend your title.
Yes.
We thank you so much for coming on. You've been a delight, as we expected. And we need to get that changed to infielder as opposed to utility player, because you are a bona fide starter and champion from the MAAC championship team of last year.
Well, welcome, and thank you for joining us on the student section.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. It was so much
Thank
fun.
Alyssa. Stay tuned. We're going to go from the softball diamond to the baseball diamond. We're going to break down the American League. Aidan will return. We'll talk about his prowess as a club baseball player, and we'll talk about Aaron Judge and Juan Soto coming up. Stay tuned.
The Student Section podcast is brought to you in part by the Marist Center for Sports Communication.
For Marist Athletics news, go to www.centerfieldmarist.com or follow CF Marist on all socials.
And welcome back. We're going from softball to baseball. Baseball season opens up this week. Well, kind of. I mean, there were two teams, the Dodgers and the Padres, played in South Korea. But for the hometown people, March 28th, all 30 teams will be in action.
Let's
go.
go.
The Yankees will be in Houston for, I believe, a 3 p.m. game. The Mets open up at Citi Field against the Brewers. Who knows what the temperature is going to be like? Gentlemen, baseball season signals that spring is here.
Yep.
It was here a
does.
couple weeks ago.
Yep.
I don't think it's here temperature-wise now. What do we think?
So back. I can't wait.
Yes.
I'm just excited because obviously every year, well, not so much in baseball, but this year there's been a lot of mix-up with people on new teams, especially the Giants. I think they had one of the best off seasons. The Cardinals.
Huge off season.
Yeah, they just. I think, what are we recording this today? So 2 days ago or maybe yesterday, Blake Snell signed, which was huge because their starting rotation. The NL West is going to be interesting because they have the Dodgers, the Padres, the Diamondbacks, and the Giants.
Yep.
4 very good teams that are all trying to compete. And for a while, it looked like the Dodgers were just going to compete by themselves and everyone was going to build up their farm system. everyone all of a sudden is ready to compete and trying to take the Dodgers down, which I think is awesome for baseball. And there's also a lot of parity. Like, yes, there's the Dodgers. There's a lot of talent on that team, but there's also parity around the league. I think most teams are competitive. The Orioles, who were not so good a few years ago, they can win the East this year. So, and even the Astros, who have been dominant in the AL for a while, the AL West now has the Mariners, the Astros, the Rangers, who won the World Series last year. There's a lot of teams that have the opportunity to make a run.
Will, can we talk a little Yankee baseball?
Yeah, we can talk a little Yankee baseball. The thing is, though, this year and I guess last year, the years where personally as a New York Core 4 guy, baseball takes a back seat until the Knicks get bounced. But for me, I'm going to watch a lot of the baseball games, but the Knicks take priority. But the Yankees have a good shot this year. Garrett Cole news was not great, but I'm glad it's only allegedly a 1 to 2 month thing. You never know with the way that everything happens. It starts out, we're looking forward to seeing the progress that Garrett makes. Yep. Garrett's on the right track. Mm-hmm. Oh, we're going to hold Garrett back a few weeks, and then you get the report he's out a month.
Just like Judge.
That happens every year with everybody. Rizzo, they didn't know he had a concussion. No. If the Yankees stay healthy, once again, that's always the goal. If you stay healthy, you stay good, and the roster is talented enough to stay good and be good. The addition of Juan Soto, you have some help. You lost, I think, your biggest player that you lost, 2 players, Wandy Peralta. He's gone. He was a great glue guy in the middle innings, in the late innings. And you lose Chad Green. You lose, who else do you lose? Michael King. You lost a lot of pitching.
Worth it. Michael King was worth it for Soto.
You can't say that yet. The season hasn't started that way. You don't know.
Soto's so good.
Yeah, but that's not. But we know that. But you lose one of these top tier pitchers, an all-star pitcher.
I'm willing to do it for Soto.
You haven't seen the season though yet. You don't know how it's going to progress. You lose that late inning guy, and God forbid Clay Holmes doesn't. I'm not disagreeing with you. Soto's a good guy, but you lose Clay Holmes to an injury. You lose Clay Holmes to an issue. Then you kind of screw yourself. You're going to have to bring in someone else. You're not exact.
I love Soto.
I know you love Soto, but the Soto doesn't fix pitching, and that's been our issue in the 7th, 8th innings.
Yeah. Well, hopefully
Soto's not going to go and do a little fastball 7-foot slider.
But he could score enough runs so that the late innings don't matter.
Well, it's not slow.
We have a lot of run support, but the run support never has gotten us to get.
Juan Soto is so good at baseball.
Boys are fired up on the set today talking about Juan Soto.
As you should be.
As you should be. So,
Soto's
Will,
so good.
as a true Manhattanite,
yes,
the city does respond to the vibe of the Knicks. So I would agree with you 100. It hasn't been like that in a long time.
Go New York,
so
go.
I think that the Go New York, go will be in evidence.
Yeah.
But as far as taking a back seat to the Yankees, this is a baseball town. And when both teams are firing, when the Yankees and the Mets, you just listen to talk radio, it's just people are talking baseball 12 months out of the year. But I do agree with you that the vibe of the Knicks is going to be very prevalent.
The thing we had, though, 2 years ago when the Rangers made it to the conference finals, the Knicks were making it to the playoffs, the Yankees started hot, the Mets started pretty hot.
Oh, yeah.
The Nets were pretty good.
Yeah.
That was the best time of my life. Everything was happy, gleeful.
Right, and
then,
you don't discount the Rangers because
no.
Rangers are going to go far.
Yeah.
The Rangers and the Knicks are making a run in the playoffs.
At the same time, forget about it.
Can we just start spreading the news?
Yes, but in terms of the Yankees,
Yes.
the
Yankees,
I have to say this: I am not optimistic.
Whoa.
I'm a lifelong Yankee fan. I think that the team is built on older players. There's not enough infusion of young players on the team. I think the pitching staff is incredibly suspect. And I think in terms of Cole, you don't know what the story is with Cole.
No, not
he's,
at all.
He's not picking up a ball for a month. And so then he's going to take a month to ramp up. You just don't know.
Exactly.
And in terms of, I'm in the middle of both you guys with the Michael King because they also gave up other pitching prospects.
He got Shioka. You lose defensive catcher.
Soto, though, is with Judge and his history, Soto plays every game.
He's great.
So I think that was something you had to do to get one of the top tier players in the game. But I think the rest of the staff at this point, throw away the smoke, throw away the hype. The Yankees are not a championship team.
That's why we've got
for
the deadline.
best. But I would not be surprised if they went down the same path that they had last
They can
year.
continue to buy.
See, Gary, I disagree with you on that regard. Last year was a very strange year in the history of the Yankees because I mentioned this. I actually never mentioned this. The Yankees are the Yankees. There's the big umbrella of the Yankees. Anything above a 500 season is trash. Anything below a 750 season is trash. You need to be above that criteria. We were a fair team last year with all the injuries, with all the issues, with Rizzo getting concussed, with our little lull in the action
82
in the
and
middle.
80, right?
Yeah, we were not a bad team. But at the same time, it's the Yankees. You got to be of that number one, that one,
They're
2, or
held
3
at a
team.
different
They haven't won a
standard.
World Series in 2009. You
Yeah.
have to, at
But
some
when you
point,
compare, when you compare that to other franchises, that's unbelievable.
Right.
I understand though that this year is going to be different than next year. I think we're going to be consistent throughout, but I don't think at this point you can say whether or not the Soto trade, though it's an individual player, it's not basketball. It's not. He can't care if he. Like last year, we got 7 runs in the first 3 innings. We'd give up 8 within the first 6 innings.
Yep.
It just didn't compare, and that's kind of what I'm afraid of this year, especially with Stroman and Nestor as our 1-2 punch to start the season.
the Cole injury is semi-devastating.
Rodon's got it. You guys are being so pessimistic.
No, I think
Rodon's
he does
here.
got it. I think he does got it. But once these guys, God forbid, get injured or in the 5th inning, no, God forbid. And then in the 5th inning, you get a little tight. You got Canely. You got, who else is back now?
Well, I think just as a whole, looking at the AL East, because that's the division the Yankees
Stacked.
are in,
It's
there's a lot of good teams. The Orioles are going to be very good. The Blue Jays, I don't know.
The Blue Jays will be fair.
I'm not a big believer in what Vlad does. And then they have the Rays, who are always going to win probably around 90 games. And the Red Sox will probably be the worst team, I think, in that division. But
And the
even
worst
so,
team
they're
is a
still pretty
500
good.
team.
Yeah.
It's not,
So,
this division is a stacked division.
yeah, I think what makes the season a success for the Yankees if they get an extension on Juan Soto, because then they can figure everything out
I
as
think
the years go by.
I agree with you, but I think this narrative has to take a back seat. That's not important at the moment. I don't think that you got to play and you got to win. It's not like you traded for him for nothing. Of course, they're gonna get to an agreement at a point.
You would hope.
But it's not. This doesn't have to be talked about before the season starts.
No.
It takes away from
I
it.
I think winning will solve
confidence
that.
The Yankees will not be outbid, and I think that I agree with Will that you have to. Yankee fans have to worry. Don't worry about next year.
He's so
You
good.
got to worry about March 28th and the 162 games that you're playing this year, and let nature take its course. And if the Yankees are crappy, he's not going to want to stay. If the Yankees are good, maybe he will want to stay. But it's all about the dollars. But you can't worry about that because you're not going to enjoy it. You got to enjoy seeing this guy play. Hopefully, Judge is healthy, and hopefully the Yankees can play a little slow.
You got a few young guys. You got Volpe. You could see what Cabrera does. You could
The
see
Yankees
what else.
hype their young guys so
Cabrera's
much,
not-
and they
not
just
Yeah.
Volpe is a
Volpe could be
different
good.
story.
Okay, I want to see more than 205 or 207,
Jason
whatever
Dominguez,
he hit.
he'll be good when he comes back.
When he comes back, yes. he
And
was-
who else?
Spencer Jones is
I
going to
don't
get
know.
called up.
I hope
Could
in the
you
late
step in
season.
as the shortstop of the Marist Club baseball team? Could you step in for Volpe?
Could I step in for Volpe? Probably not.
What's your strong suit? Is it hitting, fielding?
balking?
I will. I think he's very rangy, which is nice.
Do you have that range?
I don't know if I have.
If he
that
has his range, he ain't sitting next to me, man.
but I have. I think I have probably the same, somewhere around the same arm talent as him. His
Okay.
arm's not incredible, and I think that's what makes me a good player is my arm. But hitting.
That's all we got.
My hitting is it's good, and I think obviously, like you said, 205 needs to be better. But he brings more than just his average to the
No, I
table.
like Volpe.
He gets on base. He steals bases.
He got a year he should have been probably in the minors. He got it in the majors. He learned a
Yeah.
lot. He was a 20-20 guy.
Golden
and I have
Glove.
confidence.
Gold Glove.
And they also changed his swing because he had too much arc and he was striking
Chicken
out too
parm.
much. And you have to give the guy time to develop. So, gentlemen, it's a long baseball season.
I'm nervous
We got
about the
fired
other
up about
guys.
Juan Soto
He's
today.
so good.
We're all ready to go.
Let's go.
And we got a long season to talk about. So we had another great show. Gentlemen, rest up.
Thank you to Alyssa.
Thank you to Alyssa. And next time that we meet, we will really get into baseball with Rick Zolzer from the Hudson Valley Renegades. We step out of our comfort zone, talking about just Marist.
Talk
and
business.
go little baseball with the Yankee affiliate, the Hudson Valley Renegades.
That's right.
An official sponsor of the Student Section
Of the
podcast.
student section. On that note, everyone have a great March Madness. Watch the games. Enjoy the games. We love to be with you. Send your comments to Will. Find his email address. Find his cell phone.
P.O.
Follow
box.
us on Instagram, Facebook,
There we
whatever
go.
it is.
Good
Go
plug.
Yale. Go Yale.
And we'll see everybody next time. See you, everyone.
Take care.